for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche And after 22 years, Raymond Mark!
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the iTest here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. And this, Pierre, is our first installment of one of our favorite things about the podcast, On Campus Friday, where we look into the hockey world with coaches, commissioners, players, what have you. And really excited to get this going. And of course, it leads into our wonderful event that we will be attending at the end of November and then also the end of the year, the men's and women's friendship for. Pierre, how you doing on this Friday?
Fantastic. I've already been in touch with the Belfast Giants here in Switzerland, getting ready for a Champions League weekend in Switzerland, 2 games in 48 hours and a little bit of bus travel involved, but happy for Robert and happy for Stevie Thornton and everybody with the Belfast Giants. So excited for them. Really pumped to talk to our guest today, Jimmy, Matt Thomas. I think the biggest thing that I like about Matt's record is the fact he was a college player. He did not play pro. He coached pro. He coached college. He's been an assistant. He's been a head. He's been a champion in different leagues. It's kind of a cool resume. And I think it speaks to, how fortunate he is to be replacing a living legend in Wayne Wilson at RIT. I'm really excited to talk. I've known Wayne a long time. And he's part of Wayne. I'm talking about Wilson, the former coach at RIT. He's part of the great Jerry York coaching tree. Oh, that's an amazing coaching tree.
Yeah.
And so I think Matt's part of that as well. And, somebody that really respects Coach York, I'm fascinated and looking forward to talking to him.
Well, let's bring in the RIT head coach right now. Matt Thomas, join us here on the iTest. Matt, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, excited. Congratulations on the new job. I know how excited you are about it. I went back and watched your introductory press conference. It was great. What's it been like so far? I imagine just you had to jump right into it with everything that's going on in college hockey these days, huh?
Yeah, well, when you're coming from pro hockey, you're kind of used to that little off season where you get some time to unwind. But for me, the timing of the job, obviously, when Wayne announced his retirement, it kind of went a little quiet during the process of finding the replacement. But it happened. We were still in the regular season in Providence in the American League, and then we went on a decent sized playoff run. So I was kind of managing both jobs. So to say it was a hectic summer is right. An exciting summer. Obviously, the opportunity to get back to my alma mater was just something that I've been eyeing, dreaming about, understanding that was a job that if it ever became available, I was going to put my best foot forward. So feeling very grateful and fortunate to get the opportunity.
Do you ever talk about or think about being part of the Jerry York coaching tree?
Well, you know what? I think it's such a unique thing about our game, right? How, so many guys you think about, like, Pete DeBoer and Steve Spott and the people from, like, I'm out at the University of Maine coaching tree as well with, Sean Walsh, Grant Stanbrook, guys that are in that, like Bruce Crowder and Tim Whitehead and Greg Cronin and Campbell Blair. The list goes on. All these guys that have coached under these, and I think it's the greatest thing about our sport, and I think it's why guys like me and all of us stay so close to it and want to stay involved in it. Is the networking. I always say Kevin Bacon has nothing on the hockey world, right? He's got 6 degrees of separation. We've got 1. So that's a unique thing, but what an opportunity. Obviously, as a young coach, I got to go against Jerry York when he was at Boston College, and they had some pretty good teams with Brian Giunta and Chuck Kobasu and Eves and all these guys that went through that Boston College program back in the day. So I saw his work firsthand, and then obviously had a great relationship with both Wayne Wilson and Brian Hills that just retired from RIT. Obviously staying close to the program and staying involved. So it's a unique opportunity for me to kind of weasel my way into Coach York's web. I'm kind of on the outside, but I'm trying to get to the middle of the web.
Hey, so one of his magical moments, and I was coaching against Coach York back when he was at Bowling Green and I was at St. Lawrence, was, the 84 NCAA championship when they beat Minnesota Duluth at Lake Placid, and Wayne Wilson was a big part of that. And Coach York obviously wins a national championship for BG. And I can just tell you, all those guys that were part of that group at BG, like that that's a special thing, and they'll never be forgotten there. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I had the opportunity when I left pro hockey. I was coaching in the ECCL in California, and I was fortunate to get the job at the University of Alaska Anchorage. And I'd been trying to get back in. I went through trying to get a green card and and get kind of a little bit more permanent for jobs in the United States. So when I got my green card, I started sniffing around back into college, and I had a young family at the time, and I ended up in Alaska. And one of our first road trips, I think it actually was our first road trip, was to Bowling Green. And obviously I had friends that played at Bowling Green back in the 90s and guys that I played and competed against in junior in Toronto. So going in, and that's a unique building because you walk in and immediately you feel the history, and they've done such a great job there in the arena. I heard it's been updated even more since Dennis Williams took over. And obviously guys like Chris Bergeron and Ty Agner did a great job kind of elevating that program in the last 10 years. So walked in there and you saw the history. You saw, and guys like Wills and Hillsey, who are, tremendous players. Obviously Wayne was a captain, and I think Brian Hill still might be one of the best college hockey players, from a point production standpoint that ever played in 4 years. So seeing those guys, and then seeing guys like my assistant coach in Alaska was a guy by the name of Louis Mass. He played at Bowling Green in the late 90s, and a lot of history, a lot of cool things to see that, that team do what they did. And, and Sean Walsh, he started his coaching career. He went to Bowling Green, and he was like a student assistant coach.
Backup goalie.
As he would say it, he goes, every team needs a fourth goalie. Every team, in college hockey, we just got a fourth goalie added to our roster because we had a kid get hurt. And I'm like, if this happens again, the guy needs to be to the clearinghouse center. So we ended up getting a fourth guy added yesterday. So it's the fourth goalie becomes a very important piece, especially if you're going to become a coach.
Hey, Jimmy, I got to tell you, and I got to tell you this. So I'm at St. Lawrence. We're playing at the Dexter Chew Classic at Alfond Arena at Maine. And our first game's against Bowling Green. Coach York's coaching there with Buddy Powers and Terry Flanagan at the time, and the late Terry Flanagan. And we have a pretty good team. I think we're number 1 or 2 in the country. And they come in with a guy named Rob Blake, a guy named Nelson Emerson, and another guy named Matt Ruckty, who was a New Jersey Devil draft pick. And they're running this power play, and they just smoked us. They didn't just beat us. They beat us up bad. But that power play, I had guys coming off the ice we had 11 guys playing the NHL from that one team. And I had guys coming off the ice saying to Coach Marsh and I, saying, we've never seen a guy shoot the puck this hard in our life. It was Rob Blake. He would just pile driving pucks past everybody.
Wow. Good stuff. You bring up Coach Walsh there, Coach, and you were saying to us off the air just what an experience you had learning from him. And an interesting story there about a project. I think our listeners and viewers would love to hear it.
Yeah, it's funny. And, you talk to a lot of people, like the Coach Walsh, he was a master motivator, taskmaster. Like he was running, he could have been a CEO of any company. I'm convinced of it, right? He was just this guy, had everybody really on board. So here I am, a 24-year-old guy. I'm trying to get into my coach career. I'm the graduate assistant. I'm super excited to be there. Maine had just come off of a Frozen Four loss and a national championship the previous year. So 2 years of just great success. And obviously the program was, at the height at that point too. So he gives me a project to put a pre-scout together for BU. So here I am, the old deck-to-deck VCR tapes, VHS tapes. Some of our listeners won't even know what that is. But I'm working all weekend. I get it done on Sunday. I'm like, okay, I'm very confident in what I've put together. So the Monday morning, he said, I want it on my desk at 8 a.m. So 7:55, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to walk into the office and give him my report. I'm pretty excited about it. Really excited about it, actually. More importantly, for his feedback. So our administrative assistant, Jeannie Goss, stops me and she's like, Coach, I want to ask you about our first trip. We're going to go here and we're going to go into what time do you think the meal should be? Because the ice time's at 3 p.m. And so I'm like, so I stop and we're just chit-chatting about this first road trip we're about to go on. And I walk in 8:01 and I Coach Walsh, here's the report. He grabs it. He looks at the clock, crumples it up, throws it towards the garbage can, and chucks the tape across the room. if you can't do things on time here, you won't be able to work here. Get out. I had this moment of like, I've never like, well, what is he talking about? Like I was shocked. So I walked out and I was heated, and it took me a few years. I got over it pretty quick because he just put me on the next task anyways, right, and said, get this one done. I didn't have much time to dwell on it, but what a lesson, what a lesson of how important it is just to be on time, to get work done, to be efficient. And, I owe him a lot for that opportunity. Like that staff, on it was Grant Stanbrook and Gene Riley, and then Gene left for the American League, and in came Campbell Blair, who was, still think he has the all-time points leader in the BCHL for defensemen, and great people. What a great environment it was for a young coach to really learn. So pretty fortunate to get that experience.
Yeah, no, those matter. Those experiences matter. Prior preparation prevents potential problems. That's the way you got to do it when you're dealing with guys that are sticklers like Coach Walsh was. Speaking of travel and all these different things, your team's going to the Friendship Four in Belfast. But as I was studying your schedule late last night and into this morning, you play 14 games before you go, and your last one's on Friday the 21st at Bentley. Are you going back to Rochester? Are you leaving from Boston? What's the planning? Because you would have all this experience from your time in Alaska, obviously, in terms of time zone travel and everything else.
Yeah, well, we're going back. Our flights are out of Toronto. So we just want to add a little more travel into that and challenge me like back to my Alaska days. When I was in Alaska, I created a great relationship with the Air Force and Army base, a lot of military in Alaska for obvious reasons. And I was fortunate to have a fighter pilot, one of the top guys in the, named Dave Abba, and his call sign was Deke, Dancing Queen. It was because his last name was Abba, right? He's a great guy, just retired recently from the Air Force in DC, but he gave me all this information on how they do it as fighter pilots when they travel, right? So, the way you intake caffeine, how you eat, how you drink, how you sleep, because in Alaska we had crazy travel. We were playing at Bowling Green. They were in our conference. So, it was taking us a day and a half to get there sometimes, as we kind of spread it out to minimize the damage of time zone travel. So this is going to be a unique opportunity. Obviously Belfast, Ireland, it's great. They've done such a great job with that tournament. Great opponents that are going to be there. But for us, we feel fortunate that we can give this to our student athletes, that the players, to get that type of an experience, those are the ones that, they'll look back 20 years from now, and I'm sure they'll have a couple great stories of something that happened in downtown Dublin on the way, or in Belfast, or some prank that maybe one of the guys pulls on the plane or in the airport. So I'm looking forward to just the experience from away from the rink as much as I am, at the rink. It's going to be a really cool situation. And I get reconnected with a guy I coached at the University of Maine and in pro for a few years, in Colin Shields, who was a legend for the Belfast Giants.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Jimmy, you got to invite Coach to the Harry Lemon.
You read my mind. We don't script this, but Pierre has a way of doing this. That's what I was just going to do. So we're going to be at the Harry Lemon, Coach, in Dublin. I think it opened back in 1905, I want to say. It's a staple of Dublin. It's an amazing place, 3 floors. We did a live broadcast there last year. The Harvard team, I think it was, Pierre, ended up coming in.
Harvard team did come, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good time. And then when we're in Belfast, we're going to be at the Harp and maybe a place called the Merchant Hotel, which is a legendary hotel there in Belfast. So we'll love to have you and some players down there. And listen, you talk about away from the ice experience. That was like the common theme amongst all those players and coaches, was just how much they were learning about the culture there and what that city has been through in that country with the troubles, and how this tournament and also the Belfast Giants play a role in uniting both sides of the troubles, the Catholics and the Prods. And they just sort of forget about it. They're all in there together as cheering for one team. So it's just a really cool experience. I think you guys are going to love it. Yeah,
I think when you look at these experiences, right? That's what it is. At the end of the day, all these kids are coming to RIT. Yeah, it's a great education, and they're super focused. We got some really smart kids and some impressive young men that are there, but they all want to have these great hockey experiences. It's just this great experience in the game. Like, we've been all a part of the game since any of us can remember, right? And to get to go share it with guys that you play with for 4 years and in that environment, it's going to be a really unique experience, but I think more than anything, just a great memory for everyone.
Yep. It's easy for me to say this because I have a lot more experience at it than you, but my first game against RIT was 1979 as a player. So I've been involved against RIT for a long time. My son's first college goal was opening night at RIT when he played for Colgate. So I got a lot of RIT experience, and I competed against a guy who's one of the best players ever from there, Blaise McDonald, who's now the coach at Colby. But I want to ask you this, Coach. In my humble opinion, I think RIT's best player of all time is Christopher Tanev. Do you ever speak to Christopher? Are you planning on ever having him involved with the program? You're talking about flying out of Toronto. He's a mainstay with the Leafs. Do you ever have him around or think about having him around the program?
Well, it's funny. So I haven't connected with Chris yet, but certainly we are going to do some stuff in Toronto with our alums at different points throughout this year. Again, as I kind of start to create, we're trying to do something special to honor Wayne and Brian as they retire them with the impact that they made on the program. And obviously Chris was a huge piece to that. His D partner in that Frozen Four run, Dan Ringwald, I coached him in pro. So he's real tight. And obviously Jared DeMichael is at Michigan State. He's tight with that. And I have Shane Matalora, who's an RIT alum and All-American from RIT. That was the backup to DeMichael on that team. So I've got some guys on my staff now that are close to that group, but that group did something really unique and doing what nobody thought a school like RIT could do, moving into Division I, and how quickly they were able to do it. And since then, all they've done is upset number one seeds along the way in the NCAA tournament and have some really impressive games. And that's something that, I think I was always told, and this was by EJ McGuire, he goes, you never want to be the guy that follows a legend. You want to be the guy that follows the guy that followed the legend. So I'm kind of stuck in this little conundrum because it's Wayne's impact on the program and what he's done and produced guys like Chris Tanev, but Blaise McDonald. I talked to Blaise quite a bit. I was actually just telling one of our guys, my new assistant coach, Josh Mitchell, who's a 2016 alum. I said, when I was at RIT, 94, 95, they had the 1985 national championship team came back and they honored them at the arena. And Blaise McDonald was on that team. And we were at a party post game on the Saturday night, and there's the whole 1985 team's out at the hockey party, right? And we're like going, what are these old guys doing here? Like, we didn't know it. And then I think about it, I'm like, they were only out for 10 years, and I thought they were old. The guys must be looking at me like, yeah, I'm a 98 alum. And they're like,
yeah. Well, I'll just tell you this. There probably wasn't any color tape back then, but Blaise McDonald was as good a defenseman as there was, and he was undersized, Jimmy, and he was a heck of a player. I'm just telling you right now. Brian Mason, he wasn't there for a long time, but he built a heck of a program at RIT, and then eventually Bruce Delventhal and Eric Hoffberg and all these guys took over. Wayne Wilson. How long was Wayne there? 25, 26 years?
27 years.
27.
Yeah, so it went from Brian Mason to, Buddy was there for a year. Bruce.
Buddy was there for a short time, Buddy Powers. Not very long.
Yeah, Buddy was there for a year. The office that I'm in currently in our new arena, which is beautiful, the Gene Policini Center for people that haven't seen it. It's an impressive arena. The head coach's office is named in Coach Mason's honor. So
cool.
Pretty cool. Some good history. I feel super fortunate to just follow and guys that have had such an impact in the school. Like, obviously being a technology school, I can't get over how impressive that school is. The buildings they've built since I've been there, it's unbelievable. But I've got a student manager job open, so I'm getting these kids are sending their resumes in. Some of these kids, what they're doing is so impressive. I feel so underaccomplished in my life. And even in college, one kid has created a voice app that can detect early onset of Parkinson's.
Oh my gosh!
Test your voice. I'm like, wow. You're doing this while you're a freshman in college? Like, impressive people, and just so many cool majors there that make RIT just such a unique school. Like, you can do some really cool things that are so applicable in today's world. We just built a huge cybersecurity building. Like, the things they're doing there, like, there's a whole competition how the kids can go in and try to hack into the RIT server. And there's
Wow.
like, it's a fight. There's people trying to get in and people trying to get people out. And I guess it's quite the event. So I'm looking forward to being a part of some of those events on campus as well.
Hey, you know, Coach, Jimmy will appreciate this because I know Boston Bruins used to have their farm team in Rochester back in the day. Mike Milbury's first pro team when he signed out of Colgate was Rochester Americans. Mike Keenan won a championship there as a head coach back in 1983. How great a hockey market is Rochester? Because I don't think it gets nearly enough credit. And I spent a lot of time in Rochester, and I think it's a phenomenal hockey market. I really do.
You know what? It is impressive. I remember going there, being a kid out of Toronto, like everyone's talking about the OHL, and that's everyone's focus, right? And my dad, who grew up in Montreal, had the foresight. He knew that college hockey was a great path and a great route, and I encourage my brothers and I to experience it. But I got there, I remember it was the 94-95 lockout year. And
don't worry, I remember I was living in Prince Edward Island.
You were probably enjoying the lockout, getting a little bit of downtime at that.
No, I was working with our American League players. Believe it or not, our farm team was in Charlottetown, so it was great. I was there for 6 months. It was awesome. I had a great time.
So we get in. So I get in there, and I remember just the guys that were playing for the Rochester Americans that year, and like guys like there's like Greg Walters, who now coaches Windsor in the OHL, and Matt Barnaby, Steve Shields, like Jason Daw, who played with my brother growing up. There was a lot of really good players that were playing in the I think Jason Daw was there that year, but
he would have been there. He would have been there. Jason Daw would have been there then.
Yeah, he would have been at that point. So there was just so much great hockey, the history. Obviously, I mentioned McGuire, who was one of my good mentors, obviously, and had such an impact on the game, working with Mike Keenan. And I got the opportunity to sit on a train one day going to the NHL draft from Toronto to Montreal, and I saw Mike Keenan, and I had never met him, so I went up and I worked with EJ. EJ came up and worked at the University of Maine when Sean was sick, kind of as a stand-in for a year. The NCAA allowed us to have a coach, and so I said, I got to go introduce myself. It's Iron Mike, like I have to, right? And he's got his reputation, right? And he's like, "Who are you here with?" I go, "I'm just by myself." He goes, "You're sitting with me." So I got to sit on the train with him, and he told stories. And Iron Mike didn't seem so iron-like to me. He was unbelievable. Like I was just like a kid in a candy store. But what a great opportunity! And all those people that you mentioned, John Tortorella, huge impact in the Rochester community from coaching the Amherst. They won a championship when he was there, and it is such a good market. Obviously, Bishop Kearney Selects Academy, they've created a program there, one of the best youth hockey. And unfortunately, my sons go to Mount St. Charles Academy, so they're kind of rivals. So I got to make sure I mention them. So it's going to be good. But it is a great market. Its location is tremendous. I think about how fortunate I was to have this, to go away to a great city with tons of universities. There's so many kids going to college in that town, and be super close to home. It's a real benefit. And we got a great recruiting backyard in Ontario, being right there for RIT. And Chris Tanev is a perfect example. One of these guys that came out, and what an opportunity he got to play as a freshman. In most places, you got to go and kind of wait your turn a little bit. And he had a huge impact and created what has been an incredible NHL career out of that opportunity.
Coach, I'm wondering, as you're at Providence the last few years working for the Providence Bruins. By the way, I'm living in Providence now, so got
Awesome.
that in common there. I'll have to go see your kid play. I'm just wondering, were you able to pay attention? You're focused on the job at hand, but were you able to pay attention to all the different changes that have been going on in college hockey, NIL, and now the CHL NCAA agreement? And when this opportunity arose for you, what did you do to prepare for that? Like how much of a part of your presentation for the job was that?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing, right? NIL is still a little bit new here. Like it's, obviously it's completely deregulated to some degree right now. So it's kind of like the wild, wild west. And it's it's interesting. It's like when I went up and visited Talkeetna, Alaska for the first time, and the mayor of Talkeetna is a cat. You can walk around with open container beer. Like it's just a different world, right?
Yeah.
In Talkeetna, Alaska, college hockey is a different world.
Yeah.
And for me, I looked at it, as I said, like I coached a long time in the minors. I built a lot of teams. I had to recruit on the fly. I had to change my roster mid-season. There was a lot of these skills that I acquired over the years, not knowing I was acquiring them. I was just doing the job and acquiring skills as I went. I think college hockey is very much like that. Mm-hmm. Like there's going to be so much turnover, and right now it's kind of like people are using the term transactional. Right. Like it's not the 4-year come together. And as much as I believe it is, I understand what's going on right now. And I think that's going to level off. And I think people are going to realize that, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, when you're in a great situation, be grateful for that, because as we know at our point in our lives, when you have a really good thing going, it's usually not that much better anywhere else. Yep. You've got challenges at any level. And so for me, I looked at it as I think the transfer portal, I think it's player friendly, which is great, right? For us, at the end of the day, this is the experience that they're going through, and we're providing an environment for them to have these experiences. So I agree with it. I do. I think the players should have more rights in that. The nil and revenue sharing stuff, to me, that I think it's a great concept. I think it needs to be regulated to some degree, because I think it's kind of misleading people probably a little bit right now, and it's nobody's fault. But as we navigate it, I think it's great. But for us at RIT, we are in a great spot. We are in a healthy school. Like our enrollment, we have 18,000 students and 10,000 of them live on campus, right? Wow. It's a really cool environment. The people that are graduating from there are going on to make, get incredible head start in the working world, because the education, we're a co-op. We're one of I think we're 5th or 6th in the country for a co-op education, where you get real world experience during your 4 years, and that's a requirement. So there's some really unique things about the educational package there where we think that, but we've got really interesting alumni, from guys like Chris Tanev, who we mentioned, but to, guys that are like changing the world for cinematography in Hollywood, and guys that are doing these incredible things in the software and the computer designed gaming. We have a gaming major. You can come and learn how to create video games at RIT. And you think about the kids that my kid's been dreaming about building roller coasters since he was a little tyke, and we lived next to Kings Island in Cincinnati, Ohio. And roller coasters. And I think there's a competition at RIT there where they build roller coasters. And so it's a unique school. And I think we are positioned really well. And I believe this when I was going, kind of what Pierre talked about, right? Great city, great hockey city, location, really impressive spot in the hockey world. So central when you really think about it to, obviously the New England and the Michigan and the Toronto, Quebec areas, Ottawa areas from a hockey standpoint. So it's a really good spot to be. I think as we continue to navigate it, like RIT is a Division III school from an athletic department, like a St. Lawrence and a Clarkson and RPI and a Union and Colorado College and many other schools in Division I college hockey. So as we kind of navigate the, kind of the Big Ten world and how they're doing things and how we're doing it, I think we're positioned to do a really good job. But for me, when I was in the American Hockey League looking at RIT, I just really believe that it's in such a healthy spot, right, from a growth standpoint, how it's going to move with the times. And I was just excited that I got the opportunity to realize that dream. It's full circle, right? You start my career there in 98, 99 as an assistant coach, and to turn around and be here in 2025 is a pretty special thing.
You talked about those alumni, and I agree with you 100%. There's some amazingly distinguished alumni that aren't even involved in hockey. They're involved in a lot of life-changing things. Do you think you'll get a vast array of those alumni to Belfast? Do you have any idea of that?
Yeah, I don't know, but what I do know about this is they're like the people. If you've ever watched an NCAA game that RIT was in, you're going to see a group called the Corner Crew. We are famous. Our student section. When I played there at the Ritter, and Blaze McDonald and Dave Burkholder and those guys played at the Ritter, there was a section in the corner, and they were rowdy, and they were the ones that were giving it to the other team's goalie on every goal against. They had the old they had the big speaker and they had to start the bus. Start the bus. They started when we were beating them like you're going to lose, and all that. They had all these chants, and how that's grown. We have an incredible fan base. They travel. I told my athletic director, I get the job, they announce it, I'm right back. I fly back the next day, and we're playing in Hartford in the Wolfpack in the American League, and walking out on the ice, there's a whole row of RIT Tiger jerseys, and they get up and they're going crazy as I'm walking across the ice to the bench.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, and it's just so I think we're gonna have a great representation there. I do know that they love it's a unique experience. Obviously, everybody thinks about Ireland in probably August and July more than November at times, but just I don't think you can go to anywhere in Europe at any time in the year and not have just an incredible experience. The history and how unique of the differences in culture they are. It's great.
That's Jimmy, crazy. You got to make sure Coach gets the connection to get to the Harry Lemon with his crew.
It will happen.
If they can go past the Harvard and Notre Dame folks, they got a professional crew.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for that.
That's the challenge.
All right, perfect stuff. Well, Coach, listen, we appreciate you taking the time. Congrats again on a new job, and I look forward to meeting you over there, if not before.
Yeah, I appreciate it, fellas. Continue to do a great job. Obviously, what a world we're living in with the podcasts and everything. Yeah. It's great, right? So much content to learn so much about it. So I appreciate what you guys are doing for the game.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Really appreciate it. Very nice seeing you. We'll see you in Belfast.
All right, guys.
Here's RIT head coach Matt Thomas joining us here on the eye test. It looks like RIT is in good hands again, Pierre, huh?
Well, he'll do a good job. Here's my biggest concern, and I'm going to talk to the coach about this when we're over in Europe. He's going to do a real good job recruiting. They're going to get some really good players. I'm telling you, you watch. They're going to get really – because he nailed it. The proximity to Ottawa, the proximity to Toronto, the proximity to Buffalo and Western New York, where they're situated. Obviously, they're more central New York than Western. There are a ton of good players there. I'm telling you, there are a lot of good players there. Here's my concern. A lot of these guys are going to go there for 1 year, and then they're going to be the Montreal Expos. Teams are going to come in with NIL money, and they're going to rate them. And so they're going to have to – and they can do it. I believe RIT is one of the teams that can do it. They're going to have to find a way to get – some NIL money to keep kids there. And it's like, I'm not saying they got to be pros, but I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, we've had this discussion before, Pierre, right? It's with some coaches last year on campus, and you and I here alone, that, he mentioned it. He said they're the only Division I team in their athletic program, right? And so
it's like St. Lawrence and Clarkson and Union and RPI. And
they're going up against the Michigans and Boston colleges and all that. And obviously they have an advantage there, but I think what I liked about him, Coach Thomas, there is that he thinks outside the box, Pierre. And I think
they're going to get good players. I'm telling you that they're going to make the neighborhood a little bit harder for Cornell. They're going to make it a little harder for Colgate. They're going to make it harder for St. Lawrence. They're going to make it harder for Clarkson. Clarkson in particular and RPI, those are very similar schools to RIT. Yeah. There's a huge math component at those three schools in particular. I'm just telling you, they're going to get good players.
Oh yeah,
they are. You watch. They'll get good players. It's about keeping them. It's about keeping them. Like Tanev was only there for 1 year.
Yeah,
and he didn't go to another college. He went to the Manitoba Moose.
Yeah,
but which was Vancouver's farm team at the time. But that's kind of what happens. And so I'm excited for them. And this thing that they're going through, the Friendship 4 that you and I are very fortunate to be part of, that's a big thing for their program.
Oh yeah,
it's a huge thing for their program.
I mean, Pierre, we saw it last year. How much did BU bond over there, and to cap off with that win, and then they carried that. They said it. I remember when they were in the NCAA tournament, and Jay Pandolfo, the coach, mentioned the Friendship 4 as a catapult into the season.
100% agree.
It's a great experience. So again, just so everybody knows, the men's tournament coming up November 28th to 29th. Of course, Pierre and I will be getting it a week before, and we'll be there the whole week, as we said, in Dublin and Belfast. It's Miami of Ohio, RIT, Sacred Heart, and Union College are the 4 teams this year. And we're really looking forward to seeing our great friends from Cara Group Travel, Sarah Stanton and the crew, and, of course, Robert Fitzpatrick from the Belfast Giants. Really looking forward.
Don't forget Stevie Thornton.
Stevie Thornton over there. It's going to be great. And, Pierre, I was going to ask you, too, what they're doing right now, that Champions League thing, that's similar to what I see in soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same idea.
Yep. You got to win your league to get in it.
Okay, and then you get an invite.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Good stuff.
So
yeah,
speaking of international hockey, there's a lot of waves that have been created by Lane Hudson and Cole Hudson's father.
Yes. Yes.
So because of that, I sent Jimmy something today because I don't think Mr. Hudson is in a good position in terms of what actually the rules are. And I think Mr. Hudson's an amazing hockey guy, Lane's father and Cole's father, and he's done so much for youth hockey, especially in the state of Illinois. He's done amazing things, trust me. And I knew about this a long time. I remember telling the story when Lane was really young. Scotty Bowman saw him play, and Scotty talked to the dad, and Scotty's the first person that ever told me about Lane Hudson and his father and the job that the dad was doing to help youth hockey. So it's all great. And I get you get frustrated as a dad, but to say that, well, because the Americans didn't invite him to camp, we're thinking about going to Canada. Jimmy, I sent you the rules today.
Yeah.
Please.
So here's the deal with the rules. And just so everybody knows, you can find it. It's all over social media right now. Lane Hudson's dad was just talking about his kid not being, invited to the Olympic camp, and said maybe would decide to switch to Canada. Well, it's not that easy. So what's going to happen is, according to the IIHF, you can switch national eligibility in IIHF sanctioned international play, but you can only do so once in your lifetime, and you must meet the specific criteria, including citizenship in the new country and fulfilling a 4-year participation requirement in that country's domestic competitions. So, Pierre, as you pointed out to us, and I want you to tell about, right, that means he has to play for the next 4 years in the World Championship. That could cause some issues for his current NHL team, Pierre.
Yeah, the Montreal Canadiens, I don't think their fans would be too happy with that. I mean, that means the Canadiens got knocked out.
Yeah, because he's not going to leave the World Championships.
He's not going to leave the World Championship. The team's still playing because it's a whole month of May.
Right.
So that's an important time of the year. And so, look, I get you get frustrated, and I'm defending the Hudsons. I didn't agree with Lane not being invited to that. I understand. I think USA Hockey was reacting to him not going to the World Championships this year. That's well within their right as well. Talking about USA Hockey. They eventually won the tournament, so they should be happy about that. Imagine if they would have had Lane. They would have been that much better. Lane was part of World Junior Championships where the team won. I think that should be taken into account for Team USA. His brother Cole, same kind of deal. They've done great things. All that being said, I think if you're going to go out there now this is not about the dad, this is about if you're going to go out there and put shows on and do stuff, you got to do the back check.
Yep.
Because this has become a pretty big
blow it up today. It's blowing up
today in hockey. I've been up since pretty early, and I'm just telling you, it's a pretty substantial thing.
And Pierre, I'm with you too. I want to say first and foremost, I totally understand. I didn't have a kid that played hockey, a son or a daughter that played hockey, but I can understand. I see it from you. I see it from other friends that have kids that have played. You're passionate and you want the best for your kid, and I understand that. But Pierre, I just wonder, is this something that maybe should have been done behind closed doors? Yeah,
probably a back channel situation. Sean Coffey is the agent. He works with Peter McTavish. That used to be Ken Hughes's firm that Kent worked for. And now obviously they own Lane and in Montreal, and they're going to sign him to a long-term deal. I think that's pretty apparent. And Dobson kind of sets the bar, at $9.5 million. So you work off of that if you're Lane Hudson and his representation. I would have preferred to see that handled back channel.
Yeah, that's all.
But I also want to defend Mr. Hudson, Lane's father.
He was put on the spot, though. That's not his fault that he was put on the spot.
He's in a tough situation there, and emotion does get involved in that. And, I've told you this a million times, and you've seen me, especially this past year. I do my best to sit in the corner, shut up, and watch.
Yep.
And, I got asked to do a lot of interviews during games that Ryan was playing, my son, and I respectfully declined.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, like I'm not criticizing his dad. He was put in a tough spot. But
no way are we
that's the
criticizing
situation. That's I guess.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we've had, the Hughes brothers' father on. We've had Jimmy Hughes on this show, and he was amazingly forthright.
Right.
He was tremendous. I thought he was tremendous on the interview.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite interviews last year.
He was really, really, but he gave us the insight in terms of how his children have grown in the game.
Yep.
And that's where I think a father like Lane Hudson and Cole Hudson's dad, and even Quinn, the elder brother who my son Ryan played with in Penticton, I think if he talks about, that kind of stuff, it's magnificent. I think he just it's a tough situation. That whole thing is emotional.
Getting back to the whole, because we were interested in what the rules are and all that, and you found it and sent it to me. But you also told Shane and I, our producer off the air, a great story that Peter Nedved has a lot to do with this in this whole process.
Yeah, you can go look it up. Peter, I knew it right away because I remember when this was going on, Peter Nedved played for Czechoslovakia when it was called Czechoslovakia.
Yep.
And it became the Czech Republic, and then obviously it became Czechia. But he left playing for them to go play for Canada because he was in a contract holdout with the Vancouver Canucks.
Yep.
And this is kind of what created this whole rule situation for the IIHF in terms of eligibility, how you do it. And so that's kind of the test case.
Yeah. It all derived from that. It's good. It's an interesting, I just Google IHF or Canada, Peter Nedved, and you'll find it. And there's great stories on it, but it's really interesting. I was glad you brought that up, Pierre. Pierre, before we go here too, just, one thing you and I have talked about off there, and we can talk about it here, is I see they haven't had any official rankings come out yet, preseason rankings for college hockey. But, a lot of news outlets are doing their unofficial or social media. You'll see some unofficial ones. And it's just sort of been unanimous and automatic that these people that are putting together the rankings are automatically putting the teams that did really well in a CHL NCAA transfer agreement, namely Penn State, right? Penn State's been number one in all the ones I've seen so far. As you've told me off the air, people can't look at this and just think that it's going to be an automatic lock, that because these teams did better some other teams in this process, that they're going to, be in the Frozen Four. They play the game on the ice for a reason. And it's going to be a transition period for a lot of these players, regardless of how skilled they are.
Huge transition time. People don't realize how hard it is. And I'll use last year's Boston College team as an example. There's a reason why Ryan Leonard went back for a second year. There's a reason why Gabe Perreault went back for a second year. Those guys went back there because they had unfinished business. They wanted to win the national championship as a group. And they gave it everything they had. But the problem was their older team. Hockey East was a beast last year, Jimmy. I think you would agree. Yep. So not only were those guys playing World Junior, but they were playing a Hockey East schedule with Providence and Northeastern and BU and Maine and UMass Amherst, like UConn. Mike Cavanaugh did an amazing job at UConn.
Yeah.
So they were running the torture test every single weekend. It was crazy how hard Hockey East was last year. We talked about it. I don't think a lot of these young players coming down, and I know how hard it is to grind in the Quebec League or the grind in the Ontario Hockey League or the grind in the Western League. I totally get it. Right. Completely understand. But I don't think they realize, you're not playing against 16 or 17-year-old guys in college hockey.
No.
You're playing against 22 and sometimes 23 and 24-year-old guys that are not small and they're fast. They might not have the hand skills you do, but they got physicality, man.
Yeah.
And they wear a full face shield.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no more violent collisions than anywhere else except Division I college hockey because full face shields.
Yep.
And it's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. A lot of those massive, dangerous collisions
you brought this up.
Go away if everybody wore a half shield and
it's a false sense of security. And I think, Pierre, you'd agree that sometimes players feel like, my stick can be a little high because the guy's got a full face mask on. It's no big deal. But then you see these kids when they get to the next level, to pros, and now it is half, and they're trained to think that it's full still in their head. So they're out there and they're constantly getting called for high sticks, or it ends up in a dangerous place. So I'm with you. I think they really need to look at it.
And the other thing that happens with the full face shield, and I watched this, I was one of the first groups in 78, 79. They made us wear shields, full face shields. Back, you didn't have to wear anything before then. And one of the things that was really apparent is guys would dive face first to block shots. It's harder to score in college hockey than it is to score at a lot of levels of hockey because the shot blocking is so crazy. Guys are so good at it because they're fearless.
Yep.
They know they're not going to lose their teeth. They're not going to lose their eye. They know it.
Yep.
So they'll just dive face first in front of it. But you put a half shield on a guy and he's got to say, do I dive face first in front of this one or not? I don't know.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing we'll have to look into another time. But Pierre, this was a great one. Really appreciate Matt Thomas, new head coach RIT, joining us here. Shane as well. And of course, as we discussed numerous times in this podcast, we are so excited to head over to Friendship 4. Got my jacket from last year.
I saw that. I thought you were just cold today.
No, I was actually. It was a little chilly when I woke up today. That's not a good sign because I don't get cold. So I'm a little worried. I hope I'm not coming down.
Hey, Jimmy, one other thing. Don't forget our great fans at Betway. You know what? I haven't really had a chance to say thank you. Betway has made a massive commitment to this network and to our show in particular, and we are so grateful. And it's because of our loyal viewers and listeners. And again, we're really, really grateful for Betway and everything they've done for the Sick podcast, but in the eye test in particular.
And I want to say, too, before I read our promo for them, too, Pierre, that I started, they didn't start that way last year, but as the year went on and as college hockey kind of got really popular as the year went on last year, Pierre, in terms of the average hockey fan, they do now have betting options for college hockey. So once that starts up, you will be able to bet NCAA hockey as well as NHL and whatever, international, everything. And of course, right now you've got NFL football in their first weekend, college footballs, I think already in their third weekend, if you count week 0 as they now call it.
Third weekend. Trust me, I live in a college football bastion.
Yeah.
You want to play golf here? Where I live, the best time to go is Saturday because nobody's there. They're all home watching football.
Or they're at the games.
They are too.
Yeah, I feel bad for those Alabama people you were with last year.
No, they were not happy. I was watching the game with a bunch of Bama folks. They were not happy.
Well, my boys, the Irish, have the weekend off, but I'll be watching college football as well. So you can get over to Betway right now, go all the way with Betway, and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Scan that QR code right in front of you or go to the details section in the website and sign up for new membership. It is only available for new members. This offer is not available in Ontario. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 18 and always bet responsibly. Good luck this weekend. Definitely take advantage of that offer there. And enjoy this nice weather because we're all going to be in the rinks really soon. Some of us already are, I'm sure. Captains practices and rookie camps, I think, start up for
Tuesday. Most teams report Tuesday this coming week. They'll have physicals Tuesday, Wednesday, usually on the ice Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning for most teams. And then a lot of the rookie tournaments, that's what they call them. They're not really, but they start next week. Late next week, like Thursday or Friday.
You know what I found out interesting, just a little side note there too about the rookie tournaments, because I was talking to some general managers about it here. Do you know some players can go there and play and not be signed? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So they can then still go back to juniors. Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you're in those areas,
they sign an ATO, which is an amateur tryout agreement. But if they're signed to a pro contract, they sign a PTO, professional tryout agreement.
That's what happens. All right. So check those out next weekend. But we will have another great on campus next Friday. But before that, we've got 4 days of great talk around the hockey world here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. Until then, he's Pierre McGuire. I'm Jimmy Murphy. Have a great weekend.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.